It is no secret that Kamaru Usman had always been a bit of a cheater and a complainer, even though a lot of people might not be aware of it. While I must give Usman respect and credit for his chin and toughness, for surviving the absolute beatdown he received from Dricus Du Plessis, I do not feel bad for him for losing this fight so devastatingly, and here is why. First of all, Kamaru Usman had a history of cheating inside the cage that we are going to discuss about today, especially when it comes to faking fouls. When Usman and Dricus fought last weekend, Dricus landed a clean shovel uppercut on Usman's eye, where Usman immediately started protesting to the ref, trying to claim that it was an eye poke. The referee unfortunately stopped the fight to review the footage, and that gave Usman time to recover. I'm not saying that Dricus would have finished him then, but I'm saying there is a possibility. On top of that, this type of situation and behavior has occurred before. You may say that sometimes a punch/strike happens so fast, there's a good chance that people don't even see it coming, right? So therefore they assume it was a foul. One example that I remembered was when Rongzu fought against Chris Padilla on the prelims. Padilla landed a nasty elbow to the eye of Rongzu, and Rongzu immediately started protesting, thinking it was an eye poke. However, in Usman's case, he has a history of such behavior where it almost becomes inexcusable. For example, in his fight against Colby Covington, he faked not one, but two fouls as far as I can remember, including faking an eye poke and a nut shot that landed on the liver. I've included this clip here posted by MMA Sesh since it had a great cut and it shows that Usman was signaling to the ref about the wrong eye and to the doctors. His reaction to this quote-unquote eye poke was also very strange to me. I've included a few photos of when fighters actually getting eye poked and their reaction to it. Usually their instinct is to rub to try and ease the pain, while Usman reacted to it so strangely. I don't know about you, but it looked like acting to me, man. Like, we're also going to go through the clip where Usman famously faked a nut shot against Colby Covington, but we can all see here the kick actually landed clean around the liver area on top of the belt line. This was extremely important since Covington actually had a solid chance of finishing the fight here, and the timeout that Usman got actually allowed him to fully recover and later on winning the fight against Covington. TKO him in the 5th round with illegal hammer fist to the back of the head, the original Cyril Gane. Other than these few instances of Usman trying to gain an advantage by faking fouls, I've also included several cage grabs he had against Leon Edwards to maintain favorable positions. And what if I tell you that Usman's cheating might not even end here? To continue to discuss Usman's cheating, we have to discuss his brother, who was a heavyweight in the UFC, Muhammad Usman. Kamaru's younger brother, Muhammad Usman, is currently suspended for 30 months following a major violation of the UFC's anti-doping policy, and he tested positive for testosterone. While investigators also discovered that he had previously used BPC 157, an experimental peptide frequently marketed as an injury recovery compound. I'm going to briefly break down BPC 157 here based on my research, just in case you guys are interested. So BPC 157 is a synthetic peptide consisting of 15 amino acids, and it is commonly advertised online as a substance that may help with tendon injuries, ligament damage, recovery, joint pain, inflammation, wound healing, and digestive problems. And most of the positive evidence surrounding BPC 157 actually comes from animal experiments and laboratory research instead of real empirical data based on human consumption. There's not enough reliable human clinical evidence to prove that it safely repairs injuries or improve athletic performance, and it also has not been approved by the FDA for human medical use. And if BPC 157 actually worked as advertised, it could theoretically allow an athlete to return from injury much sooner, recover much faster between training sessions, and maintain a more demanding training schedule and continue training through physical problems that would normally require rest. And this will create a significant advantage for the athlete. It is important to distinguish between Muhammad Usman's testosterone violation and his BPC 157 usage. So an out-of-competition sample collected from Usman on September 8, 2025 tested positive for testosterone. And that result forced him out of his scheduled fight in UFC Rio against Walter Walker. BPC 157 was not publicly reported as being detected in the sample, and instead, Usman actually admitted during the subsequent investigation that he had used BPC 157 earlier in 2025. He also admitted to using testosterone leading up to the scheduled UFC Rio fight and at another point earlier that year. That brings us to another question, right? Why was his suspension so long? Why was it 30 months? When a standard punishment could have been, from 6 months to 24 months, which is 2 years. Combat Sports Anti-Doping added an additional time because of his aggravating circumstances. Quote, according to CSAD, Usman did not immediately disclose the full extent of his drug use. Oh wow. Investigators said that he provided a false explanation and only accepted responsibility after being confronted with evidence collected during their investigation. The combination of multiple prohibited substances and what CSAD characterized as a deceptive conduct resulted in a 30-month-long suspension. Usman will remain ineligible to compete until April 9th of 2028. Next, this brings us to Muhammad Naziru Usman, the father of Kamaru and Muhammad Usman. Public report indicates that Usman's father trained or worked as a pharmacist after immigrating to the United States. And because of his background, some people may wonder whether he helped Muhammad obtain performance-enhancing drugs, though there is currently no documented evidence establishing any sort of connection and no credible public source that said Muhammad's father supplied, prescribed, or recommended either substances, but it is definitely suspicious to me. This does not end here. There's another pharmacist in Usman's family that is Kamaru and Muhammad's older brother, Kashitu Usman. He also has been reported to be a doctor of pharmacy and a licensed Texas pharmacist. Once again, this does not establish that he supplied or knew about Muhammad's prohibited substances, but it definitely raises questions for me. It just seems very convenient and too good to be true. If you just look at Kamaru Usman's brother Muhammad, it is almost difficult to not think that he's on performance-enhancing drugs. His physique is ridiculous and it does not look natural by any means whatsoever. He's looking like prime-day Batista. And the fact that his brother was caught doping in such an extreme manner, it kind of makes Kamaru Usman look suspicious as well, just by association. And the most public accusation of Kamaru Usman using PEDs came from Colby Covington before UFC 245 in 2019. Covington accused Usman's usage of EPO, a prohibited hormone that increases red blood cell production and can substantially improve endurance, that was used by our best friend TJ Dillashaw. Kamaru denied the accusation, saying that his physical appearance had remained consistent throughout his career, that his improvement resulted from training and technical development. However, that is a strange argument to bring up because, quite frankly, EPO does not have much to do with a person's physique or any sort of physical appearance or muscle development, as it does not enhance testosterone and muscle growth like anabolic steroids. So it is interesting that Usman used that as a counter argument. He could have said anything else. However, Covington was promoting a fight against Usman at the time, and his unsupported claim should really just be treated as an allegation and no more. Another suspicion to me is related to his damaged knees that he mentioned on Joe Rogan's podcast. Kamaru has discussed being unable to run normally because of chronic knee problems, yet he has displayed exceptional cardiovascular conditioning inside the octagon without the ability to run or bike, and that also is very strange to me. And lastly, People always bring up his abdominal marks and visible bumps that have also been interpreted online as possible injection sites, although this conclusion cannot be established from simple photographs. Overall, I think Usman's cheating inside the cage, his younger brother's doping violation, the family's pharmaceutical background, and other things that we mentioned about his inhuman pace and toughness does draw a bit of suspicions to me. It is totally possible that Kamaru Usman has been using performance-enhancing drugs, and it's also possible that he has not been using it and I'm just fully tripping, and I don't want to accuse him without concrete evidence, since he has never been popped for any PEDs by doping agencies. But overall, in the end of the day, he's still a cheater inside the cage. While he's a legend, we should not be letting this type of behavior slide, just like how we did with Cyril Gane. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video, and peace.